There are many ways in which we can understand yoga. The most common misperception about yoga is that yoga is a physical exercise. The reason why we assume that yoga is a physical exercise is we go into certain postures or what we call as asanas, or we do breath work. Yoga is not breath work and yoga is not physical movement or physical stillness. Yoga is stilling the mind by stilling the body. Let us take an example. Assume you want to achieve a certain goal. What happens when you face an obstacle or when you face a distraction? Immediately you may get deviated, isn't it? The student wants to study. He decides that he will study for 1 hour. Then his friends call him or he gets a pop-up in his chat box. Immediately he gets distracted. This basically means that within 1 hour he may not be able to study what he wants to study. Why? Because the mind has fluctuated. Now yoga is a process where you can still the mind, which basically means that when you are able to practice yoga with certain amount of focus, I am saying with certain amount of focus because it is very difficult to be absolutely focused. If you practice yoga, you may know it. Because many people come and complain that I am doing yoga but there are many thoughts. My answer to them is, when I am doing yoga, you are able to see the thoughts. When you are not doing hatha yoga, you are actually getting entangled in thoughts. Hence I say, do not worry about getting thoughts when you practice hatha yoga or even pranayama for that matter. Now let's come back to stilling the mind. If we practice yoga continuously for a certain period of time, by yoga I mean tools of yoga like hatha yoga, mantra yoga or pranayama or even meditation for that matter. If you are able to practice them consciously for a few minutes every day, you are training your mind to focus on what you chose. It can be a posture, it can be the breath, or it can be stillness. When you are training the mind to focus, then the mind becomes still. This process of aligning all your energies to the object of focus is yoga. Now, one of the ways in which you can interpret Maharishi Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, when he says Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which actually means yoga is stilling the fluctuations of the mind. The deeper meaning of the statement is, yoga is a tool that can help you achieve your consciously created goal despite any distractions. This basically means that when we learn to focus using the process of yoga, even when there is a distraction, you will not distract the way in which you get distracted before you started practicing yoga, which basically means the stillness, the state of mind that is still will slowly gather strength, and that basically means that you will be able to apply yourself and direct all your energies on the chosen job, object or goal. This is one of the meanings of yoga. There is also one more meaning of yoga. Yoga is also called as yukti. Yukti means strategy. Yoga is a strategy to achieve the goal in life. For example, if you are stressed or if you say that I have a lot of negative thoughts, yoga does not go into analyzing those thoughts, because as per yoga, any thought that comes compulsively without your conscious awareness is a distraction. However important it may be, however threatening it may be, it is a distraction. And that is distraction because the mind is fluctuating. Why the mind fluctuates? The mind fluctuates because the mind is not still. Now, the mind is constantly in movement and constantly fluctuating. You need to be still. There's nothing for you to think, there's nothing for you to do, but you're thinking negatively. So instead of analyzing the thoughts, yoga says, practice stillness. Now, it is very difficult to practice stillness because when I start focusing on my breath, it gets overwhelmed. That is the reason we start with Hatha Yoga. When you start with Hatha Yoga, you release the emotions that are already pent up in the body using the breath. Then the body gets prepared for just sitting. Then you start with certain breath work, which again is called pranayama, but pranayama is not breathing in and out. Pranayama is focusing on the movement of the breath within your body. When you focus on the breath that moves in and comes out of the body with a certain amount of subtlety, then naturally you will go into a more subtle, calm, peaceful state, which means the mind is more settled. And then you practice meditation. So you have Hatha Yoga, you have Pranayama, and then you have meditation. When you are training the mind continuously over a period of time with these three tools which yoga has offered, then naturally you will be able to have a still mind, and when the mind is still, you get a strategy. Why? Because yoga offers you a strategy to solve your problems. When the mind becomes more still, more peaceful, more calm, then you may get creative ideas. That's one more way of looking at yoga. The most common way in which most spiritual aspirants look at yoga is, we say that yoga is a way where the Paramatman and the Jivatman get connected. You as an individual, we are Jivatmans. But we do not know that we are Jivatmans. We think we are humans or some beings. Paramatman is a source of all Atmans. So, yoga is a tool where you connect the Jivatman with the Paramatman. Now, how do we do that? Again, we come back to the first definition. I am a Jivatman, which means I have all the potential of Paramatman. It's like a drop of water from a sea. It has by and large all the qualities of the water which are there in the sea. Am I right? Done. But the drop of water is still not the sea. It does not know that it's a sea. So it starts to maintain its own individuality. That's what happens to me when I think I am Jivatman and I am not connected to the Paramatman. Then I start creating my own identity. In the process of creating my own identity, my mind starts searching. I start searching for more and more and more and more, and finally end up getting nothing, because whatever I search, I will not get that connection because I need the ultimate. So, what yoga does is, if you need to connect with the Paramatman, you need to first still the mind. When you still the mind, you become Atman himself or herself. Hence, you say Jivatman gets connected to the Paramatman using the process of yoga. These are the few definitions of yoga. We can see more of them as we move forward. Thank you.